Welcome back to another episode of Twins Talk Therapy. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Adam.
And we are twin brothers with over 30 years of experience with athletic training, physical therapy, and massage therapy. And today we have an exciting guest with us.
Yeah, we're joined today by Morgan Smith from the Den Helder Sons in Holland. And she's playing professionally. Thanks for being here, Morgan.
Thank you for having me.
Once again, Morgan, thank you for being with us today. And we want to just ask you some questions about your playing career, the sport you're playing, and all that kind of stuff. So where did you play high school basketball?
I played in Arlington, Ohio, about 20 minutes south of Findlay.
Okay.
Yep, that's where I went to high school.
I know where that's at.
Yeah.
So little small town America. And then where did you play your college ball?
My college career was at Bluffton University.
Okay, very cool. So first question, when did you start playing basketball? How old were you?
From the time that I can remember, honestly, I wasn't really in organized sports until junior high school, but my dad used to play basketball in high school, and he kind of showed me the ropes from an early age, probably I want to say like 6 or 7.
Awesome.
When I started.
All right. Question number 2, what did you enjoy most about playing basketball?
It's a difficult question. There's so many different things. Probably when I'm out there on the floor playing, nothing else matters. And it's just that separation from reality. It's the little things, like the senses, like how it feels when your hands touch the ball, when you're sweating. Crunch time, like towards the end of a game, that's the best part. Like, I want the ball in my hands, I want to score. By far, that's probably my favorite thing about basketball.
That's awesome.
So kind of a obvious question here for question number 3, but are you excited to be playing overseas?
Ecstatic, yes.
And what's the thing that you're looking forward to most about being able to play professional ball?
So I want to do it for multiple years, so I'm hoping that this year I can kind of get my feet wet, making a statement. I have my own personal goals, I have team goals that I want to work with, and then hopefully kind of just expand my career and go on from there.
Okay, question number 4. Tell us about how your opportunity came about playing overseas, and maybe go back into a little bit about if you hit roadblocks, how you got through those.
Yes, I kind of got associated with professional sports. Last year I had went on a tour kind of with Beyond Sports. They're an organization where a bunch of American players can go overseas and play different camps and scrimmages and such. So I went to Spain for 10 days, loved that opportunity, and since I was my junior year, going into the season and everything, I was thinking, man, like I love this. I kind of got the feel. That was my first time really being out of the country. And then going into my senior year in the fall, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do yet, and I had like this itch of playing professionally, but wasn't sure about it. And I actually remember driving and thinking about it, praying about it, and I was like, you know what, God, whatever I'm supposed to do, if I'm supposed to play pro, then just line it up. If not, I'll think of something else. And that same day, I ran into Austin Gardner. He played for University of Findlay. He had the contact from my current agent and gave me the number, and I called him up. Oliver Hardman, he's a great guy. He's helped me through a lot of different stuff, and our first conversation, he was very like, you're a Division III player, I don't know if I'm going to take you on, this, that, and the other. But I knew I was good enough and I knew I had potential, and so he came to multiple of my games and coached me throughout the season on the side, like talking me through different things and what to expect about Europe, and then I just signed with him this past March.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. What injuries affected you most in your career so far, and what kind of went through your head once you were injured?
Yeah. This is where you get the popcorn. It's quite lengthy. So my freshman year of high school, I was a homeschooler, came in, and like I mentioned, I didn't really play organized sports. I played for like a homeschool team, but it was mostly kind of like open gym, and we had games, but it wasn't really as organized as high school, like public school is. So I came in freshman year, kind of new to everything. Seth Newlove was my high school coach. He was a phenomenal coach, helped me through a lot of different things. Very intense guy, hard on you, love that about him. So my first 2 years, I had a pretty good year, freshman year and sophomore year. Sophomore year, we had a really, really good team. We went far in tournaments. We had some greats that are known in Arlington, Sierra Nichols, over 1,000-point scorer, along with Whitney Dodds. They're in the same class, over 1,000-point scorer. So I was the sixth man coming off the bench. I was getting decent minutes, decent stats. There'd be times where I had most points in a game, etc. So they all graduated my sophomore year, so I knew going into my junior year, like, this was it. This was my opportunity to go out, prove something. And I had always had the dream since I was young to play college ball. So the summer going into my junior year, I started training myself. I had been creating my own workouts since junior high, but I took it very seriously. I was working out 4 hours a day, 3-4 hours a day. If I couldn't sleep, I'd grab my sneakers and the ball, play all night long. Like, I was over the top. It was good, but over the top. And my first week of practice, my junior season, I tore my right ACL. And it just absolutely crushed me. I didn't even know anything about injuries. I thought that was like, if somebody like rolled their ankle, I was like, oh, get over it. Like, just get back out on the floor. But I had an injury that I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything, and I really wasn't sure what to do about it. So this kind of like changed my whole mindset on playing. It took a long time. It took 2 weeks to get my MRI results back because we had to wait for insurance and such. And during that time, I was just like, that was the first time I really dealt with mental health. I was just like so angry at my body, like why it would do that, depressed. I remember sleeping in my jersey at night, like all my tears and like my jersey and my pillow, and Mom would come in and she's like, oh, it's okay. And I'd be so angry and bitter because I was like, no, it's not okay. Like, this is all I cared about. And so when I got the news, it really hit me hard. But God worked in a very special way, and He worked quick my junior year. I found the Bible verse, my favorite Bible verse. I always put it on my shoes. Proverbs 16:9 says, a man's heart plans his ways, but the Lord directs his footsteps. So I was like, okay, you know what? There's a purpose for this. And as I mentioned, like, I was thinking all about myself, and it really allowed me to step back and like focus on my teammates, focus on my family, relationships that actually mattered over the sport. So that junior season was very pivotal for me because I really made an effort to try to be a better teammate. After I got my news, right away I was like, for every game and every practice I'd suit up. I'm like, I'm not gonna sit on the sidelines and wear sweats. Like, I'm all in with everybody. If somebody was coming out the game, like, I was talking to my teammates at all times. And I took training very seriously. Like, physical therapy, I absolutely loved it. That was my only time I could work out. So in my mind, I was like, this is good. This is teaching me something. I'm gonna have a comeback. And that's like, I full-heartedly believed that. So then senior year, I came in and I was feeling so good. I was like, all right, I'm ready to go, cleared. And the fall of my senior year, I was just like struggling with coming back. I had no idea, like, not only the psychology of it, like mentally, like not trusting your body to be able to perform at where it used to be, and then being frustrated because you couldn't perform where you were. And so I was very frustrated, a lot of anger, asked my mother, and was trying to work through all that. And then January, so I tore my first one in November of 2017. And then January 28th of 2019, I tore my left ACL. And at this point, I was like, okay, well, I was so mad. I was like, I've done what you wanted, God. I tried to do what I was supposed to do. I've marked all my T's and then dotted all my I's, did all the therapy and such. But here I am with the same thing on the other knee. And so I'm very stubborn. If you ask my mom, she's a saint. But my left ACL, I looked at my high school coach and I was like, you know what, I really don't care. I'm gonna play on my torn ACL. This is my senior year. I was like, if like nobody's looking at me right now because I'm playing at a Division IV school for high school and in the middle of nowhere, and I don't really have scouts at this point, and my dreams of playing Division I were kind of gone. So I was like, I'm gonna screw it. I'm gonna play my last month and a half of basketball. So I ended up doing that. My high school coach was very controversial with all of it because he knew that I was in a lot of pain, and I worked with a lot of my trainers to make sure that I was doing different workouts and stuff to make sure I could do that. But senior night, February 14th, I did start and I played that game, and then I played in our regional finals game. So at that point in my life, I was like kind of frustrated, figured I wasn't playing college ball, and then throughout the summer, I had gotten surgery in April of 2019, and I just figured I was done. So then my high school coach, he called me up. He's like, listen, like you're stubborn, like you have all this potential and you've worked so hard, like you can't be done. And I was like, well, nobody wants me. Like I'm crippled on the sidelines for 2 years. What am I gonna show them? And Coach Shuttler, Chad Shuttler at Bluffton University, phenomenal man, taught me so many more things about life than just basketball. And he talked with my head coach and he spoke with me and he was like, listen, I don't care if you were injured. Like, I know you have potential and I respect a lot what your high school coach has said about you and I want to take you on. So I was excited because I was like, here's this opportunity or whatever, but I was very unsure of how it would go because of how like coming back after my first injury was. So freshman year of college was a lot. I rehabbed all year long. It was really intense rehab, especially like it was a lot harder for me in college, I think, for the rehab and such to sit there and like the practices were way longer for college. Like it was like a full-time job pretty much to play college sports, and so I had to sit on the sidelines for even longer than I did before. So that was having its toll on me. And then I finally got cleared freshman year. I played about 7 games, I think it was, that I was cleared to play. But I came back and my body was still doing the same thing. Like it wasn't anywhere near where I wanted it to be. And I had no idea what I was gonna do because I was just so frustrated at this point because I had these high expectations and I truly believed in myself, but my body wasn't performing. So I told you it was lengthy. So then my sophomore year of college, I decided I was done. I was fed up with basketball. I was fed up with life, with everything. I was just very angry and bitter. And I was like, you know what, maybe I'm not supposed to play because my body can't keep up. So I took a job at Corey Roston High School. I coached as a junior varsity coach there. I took that whole season off, and coaching was totally different for me. It's really hard to like change your perspective and be on the outside and be telling these players, especially freshmen and sophomore girls in high school, what you want them to do, but not being able to do it. So that was difficult for me, but the coaching staff were really good. Bill Fain, he recently passed, but he was a huge role model to me. He helped me through a lot of different things, and throughout that whole duration of time, I was just lifting because I was just like angry, wasn't really playing ball other than going to practice to help coach, and I was just like, all right, well, I'm gonna hit the weight room. So then I gained like a bunch of weight, got a lot stronger, and like I would hop in with drills with some of the girls and stuff, and Bill Fain was always like, you need to go back and play. Like you have a lot of potential, like you need to do something with it. And I was just like, nah, like I'm done, like my body, you don't understand. But so he actually reached out to Coach Shuttler again and was like, you need to sit down and have a talk with Morgan. And so he like reached out to me and I was like, what does he even want? Like I quit his team, like why is he even trying to reach out to me again? And I sat down and we had a conversation, and it pretty much was like I had all these expectations, but I wasn't performing, and I'm not ever gonna like go half in with anything because I'm an all-in type person. And he was like, it's fine. At this point, just come and do like summer workouts or like the spring ones for the spring semester. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to come back. So I did. I hopped in with the girls and their training, conditioning, and lifting, and I was killing it because I had put on so much weight from lifting for a whole year. And throughout that whole year, I just like a lot of like recovery and different stuff, like taking my nutrition and just like all around well-being very seriously because I had nothing else to do. And so then junior year of college, I decided to come back and play. And I was so excited. I was training all the time, and I had a different outlook on life and perspective because of my previous experiences. And then September 1st, we were like in preseason for about a month, training and doing different stuff. I was actually in a car accident, and it was out of the blue. I was coming home from the fair. Someone ran a stop sign. I was unconscious, ended up in the hospital. I had a really, really bad concussion. I was out with that. I ended up getting shingles and really sick for 4 weeks. I know, weird, I was 20 years old, but I just kept getting like sick and doing this, that, and the other. And so I had to like sit in a room for like 10 days in a dark room because of my concussion was so severe. And so I was like trying to come back through all this, and I was talking to coach, and I was like, I'm trying to come back, but like I don't know what to do. And he'll always tell me, and he's tried to tell me this so many times, and it's finally sinking in, but he's always like, listen to your body. It's okay, you don't always need to be in a hurry, just like listen to your body, take it at your own pace, and the rest will fall into place. So he talked to a lot of my professors, helped me with the educational side of things. We took our time, and I finally was able to be cleared and everything by the start of the season. So then junior year, I had a really successful season, and as well following senior year. So that's kind of like all my injuries.
Yeah, that was a movie.
Thanks for that answer too, Morgan, because a lot of players don't get to explain how it is going through injuries like that. So we appreciate the long answer to just understand the psychology of an athlete when they go through an injury like that. So do you have an idea of, with your injuries, what role your athletic trainers and physical therapists provided for you and how they were involved with your recoveries?
Yes. So Terry Jolliffe was my physical trainer or physical therapist. He's phenomenal. He's really, really awesome. And he's kind of goofy, but also intense. And he always knew, like, I'd always come into therapy, and he'd always, he probably shouldn't have said it, but he always said that I was his favorite because I'd always come in, I was like clapping and like, let's go, like we're gonna get to work out today and train, and all these old people would be like, what? But he's super cool. He helped me through everything, and especially like my second injury and like trying to play with it torn and stuff. He was very like, I don't really think you should, but like was very comforting and stuff. So he's helped me through and through. And then my younger sisters also go and see him. They have ACL injuries as well. So he's helped me in and out. And then for athletic trainers, high school I had a really good athletic trainer. In college it was a little different. The athletic trainers at college are great because that's their job. They, unlike high school, especially at a Division IV level, unlike if you would go to a Division I school in a bigger city, they have all the sports that they have to handle, so there's not really that focus on you specifically. So in college, the treatment was a little different, and Kim, she worked on me a lot and like helped me with my therapy and this, that, and the other. And they were really good with like squeezing me in at different times if I needed something like ASAP, especially going in and out of practices. So they were all phenomenal.
Awesome. Did your training and mindset change after coming back from injury, and how, as far as mentally, how you prepared for practice, that type of thing? Was it different after injury?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I kind of touched on it a little bit. We actually had, in high school, we had a motivational speaker come to us, and he taught us all these different types of things you can do before games, before practices to help enhance your performance. And one of the things he did was he always talked about, and I still do it, I did it in college before games, is visualization, where you, like, I always like to go like separate from everyone where it's quiet. And I'll close my eyes and then I think through everything. I think through different scenarios throughout the game, the ending score, I think about my teammates, my good passes and this, that, and the other. And also incorporating like negative things. If I turn the ball over, am I gonna get back on defense and get a block or a rebound or this, that, and the other? And so that whole approach, that really helped me a lot, especially with my injury. And because I was on the sideline so much, just sitting there and like visualizing the game for my teammates or visualizing my own future. So it had those repercussions. The fear as well, like coming in, I swear it's almost unconscious because I feel like I'm walking in, I'm like, I'm unstoppable. But then I go out there and I'm like, why am I favoring my leg? Oh wait, my ACL was torn. So just different things that you have to recognize, which in high school was harder for me to pick up on, but now 22 years old, I can kind of pick up on it a lot more. So, yeah.
So what character qualities do you appreciate or hope for the most when you're working with the medical staff coming back from an injury, like your physical therapist, your athletic trainers? Like, is there something you hope as far as, oh, I hope this person is this way, that way? And what did you find in your medical team?
Yeah. Well, Terry worked with me a lot in high school, and I think the most key component as an athletic trainer or physical therapist for an athlete specifically is having that confidence in your player or in that athlete of whatever sport. Because when you're the athlete and you're like, oh, I'm over here injured and stuff and trying so hard, but then your trainer like still has that confidence that one day you're gonna get back where you were, it kind of just restores that in yourself, your own hope. Also, being very in tune with your player. I know Shuttler would always get on me too because I really don't like to talk about like my aches and pains, but my athletic trainer, Ashley, in college, she was very good at, she would be like, okay, you look bad. Like, did you not sleep well? Like, what is it? Like, talk to me here. And for me personally, like not wanting to always go to a trainer and admit that, that was very helpful as well. So I think it differs between each person because everybody has different personalities, but always have that confidence. Yeah.
Again, we touched on this one a little bit already, but what were the main differences you noticed between athletic trainers in high school versus college?
Honestly, just the individual work with them. And I think that, I mean, I wouldn't know because I didn't go to a bigger school for a high school, but I know like with such a larger capacity, they probably have more attention to specific sports and maybe a larger staff. But I think that that was the biggest difference between the two, is that individual work. Yeah.
As an athletic trainer, I can confirm that
Yeah.
at the high school level, it differs from a small high school a little bit. I mean, you're still the same number of sports, maybe a little bit less athletes, but Division I high school, some Division II high schools will have maybe 2 athletic trainers, so helps divide and conquer the load a little bit. But it's still a lot when you go to the high school or the college level. Then you have an athletic trainer that's just for your sport and maybe
Yeah.
one other sport throughout the academic year, and then that's it. So thank you for diving into that a little bit. What role has your faith, we touched on this a little bit with your story about, asking God, what's the purpose of going through this, but what role has your faith played throughout your sports career so far?
Yeah.
If any, I don't know.
No, yeah, there's large emphasis there. God is quite funny. He knows you better than you know yourself, hands down, always. A funny story, briefly, this past season, because I always like to pray before games. A lot of times, like the night before a big game, I'm gonna sit there and I like to go shoot alone. It's like my time where I'm prayerful. I'll kind of like talk to God, be shooting shots or whatever. I'm gonna be like, how is this gonna happen, or how am I gonna react to this and that? And I pulled in my little booklet that I need to focus on humility. And I was like, I'm humble. Like I'm fine. And I didn't even know like what he was trying to tell me, and I kind of like brushed him off completely and just went on shooting. And I was like, I'm not even a proud person. Like all day I kept pulling different stuff. And that next game I came out and I was killing it. I was doing so good that game. And then I came down from a rebound and like I was falling with my rebound. And I saw my teammate at the top of the key. And in my head, because like it takes a second for me, I swear, for things to process things. And I'm like, have the ball in my hand. And I'm like, if I fall on the ball, I'm gonna turn it over. I can't do that. Like I'm killing it. We can't afford that. So like last second, I passed to my teammate. Then my head ricochets off the floor and I lost my front tooth. Like completely out. And I was just like complete overcome with, I can't believe I lost my front tooth. There's all these people. Like I look terrible and all this, that, and the other. And I was like, afterwards, it really humbled me because I was like, oh yeah, I think way too highly of myself. Way too highly of myself. But yeah, God has helped me through a lot of different things. Probably what I've learned the most now is he just wants me to surrender, and pretty much everybody surrender everything. I remember before I got this contract, because I had been talking to Oliver for so long, and he was like, listen, like you're coming out of Division III, like you might not get picked in the second round of the season, like I don't even know. And beforehand I went to church and I like sat down and was talking to God, and I was like, if I never play basketball another day in my life, that's fine. Like do what you want with me, I'm gonna serve you. And literally that same day I got a phone call saying I got a contract. And so I think it's always just give everything to God and then he'll take care of it, so.
That's awesome.
Awesome. All right, Morgan, the last question for the interview portion. Was there any point during your basketball career, whether it be injuries or just struggles with the sport, that you might have given it up, if not for your faith, and how did your faith keep you going?
Sophomore year is when I kind of like had that, probably the lowest point of my life where I just kind of quit with more than just basketball. I was kind of selfish. I was going through a lot of different things, finding different ways to cope that weren't really healthy. And God always put different people in my life to help lead me out of that. And the other thing too is it's like, God is so persistent and he could be so annoying at times. Like during that period of my life when I wanted nothing to do with him, he always kept popping up. It was like this church pamphlet or like randomly like brushing my teeth and then I find this Bible verse or like my Bible's open. And I'm like just so frustrated because I'm like, no, like I'm living this type of way, but then he's always calling you back home. So I think that everybody should know that he's never gonna give up on you.
Well, thanks for answering those questions, Morgan. All right, Morgan, what did you think about that treatment?
It was awesome, feeling very relaxed now.
Pretty rare having two
Yes,
therapists work on
it
you.
was different.
All right, well, thank you for your time. Thanks for coming in, and that wraps up this episode of Twins Talk Therapy.
Please like, share, and subscribe this video. Click that bell notification so you can be notified whenever we release a new video. And also, if you have any prayer requests, we started doing this a couple videos ago. Drop a prayer request in the comment section. If you'd like to email us privately at twinstalktherapy@gmail.com, you can do that as well with a prayer request or a video idea. If you want have a topic that you want us to cover, shoot us a comment or an email. And I think that wraps up this episode. Thanks again, Morgan, for coming.
Of course, thanks for having me.